Dear friends, a girl of noble character whose husband had gone to another city for some time, how she spent her days and nights in solitude at home with her brother-in-law, and the act she committed will leave you shocked when you hear it. When her husband returned home, he too couldn't control himself upon hearing of his wife's action. Today's incident is extremely sensitive, so we request you to watch this video till the end. Dear friends, in the outskirts of Karachi, in a small house, Bushra and her husband Ahmed were living a peaceful life. Their marital relationship was based on love, respect, and faith. Ahmed worked in a private company, and Bushra was a modest, pious, and simple woman who observed Purdah and was regular in offering the 5 daily prayers. Ahmed's younger brother, Fahim, who had recently graduated from university, also lived with them. Fahim was intelligent, but influenced by the glitter and glamour of the world, and his heart would often wander. Bushra considered Fahim like her own younger brother and cared for him like a mother. Fahim also respectfully addressed her as Babi Jan, dear sister-in-law. But as time passed and Fahim stepped into youth, a strange feeling grew in his heart. One day Fahim was sitting in his room when his gaze fell on Bushra, who was performing ablution. At that moment, Satan whispered into his heart, "She is your sister-in-law and she is beautiful too. She loves you while considering you her brother-in-law and fulfills your every need. So why don't you take the chance and express your carnal desire to her? She won't even reject you. Who is stopping you?" Fahim immediately shook his heart free from that thought, but the spark of temptation had already been lit in his heart. The next morning, when he woke up for prayer, he felt a burden on his heart. He performed ablution and turned to Allah in prayer. "O Allah, purify my heart, protect me from the evil of my desires." After the prayer, Fahim sat on the prayer mat for a long time. Tears were flowing from his eyes, and his heart kept calling out to Allah, "O Allah, I am leaning towards sin, please guide me." But the condition of his heart was such as if a battle was ongoing. On one side was the light of faith, and on the other was the darkness of desire. Satan kept trying to lead him astray, and a strange restlessness grew within Fahim's heart. In the house, Bushra was busy with her usual chores. She had never imagined that any improper thought would arise in Fahim's heart. For her, Fahim was only her husband's younger brother, whom she respected. One day, it so happened that Ahmed went to Lahore for office work. Bushra and Fahim were left alone in the house. Fahim tried very hard that day to leave the house and spend time with his friends so that the thoughts in his heart would lessen. But in the evening, when he returned, there was a strange silence in the house. The electricity had gone out, and in the hall only the dim light of a candle was present. Bushra, after covering herself with a veil, served tea and went back to her room. In Fahim's heart once again, a storm of temptation arose. He began pacing slowly in the hall. His steps gradually started moving toward the room where Bushra was. There was a struggle going on in his heart. Just knock on the door and ask. "If everything is okay, maybe something will happen," he thought. "I'll go into the room, then she will serve me tea, and through that excuse I will get closer to her. Since my brother has gone to Lahore for a few days, why not enjoy time with Bhabhi?" But just as he reached close to the door, at that very moment, the sound of Quran recitation came from the room. Fahim's soul trembled. He froze in place. Tears began to flow from his eyes and his heart began to shake. He went back to the hall, spread out the prayer mat, and fell into prostration. "O Allah, what is this darkness that has taken root in my heart? How could I even imagine committing a sin with my sister-in-law? Guide me." And now Fahim stayed, long in prostration, seeking forgiveness from Allah. His heart had become lighter, but his eyes continued to cry. He knew that a temptation, waswasa, itself is not a sin, but if nurtured, it becomes an act. He was thanking Allah that the sound of recitation had awakened him. The next morning he woke up earlier than usual, went to the mosque, offered the Fajr prayer, and sat near Maulana Naeem. The Maulana noticed the worry on his face and gently asked, "Fahim Beta, son, do you want to say something?" In a trembling voice, Fahim told him everything. Maulana Naeem listened to him attentively and said, "Son, this is the game of Satan. He tries to test even the pious people. But in a heart where the fear of God is alive, sin cannot take root. Now you must do 3 things. 1. Observe complete modesty, so much so that you do not speak with your sister-in-law without necessity. 2. Recite the Quran daily, especially Surah Nur and Surah Ahzab. 3. Recite morning and evening prayers regularly and seek refuge in Allah. Fahim accepted those instructions sincerely. But on the other hand, the circumstances started to change. The women of the neighborhood began to notice that Ahmed had not been home for several days and Fahim and Bushra were living alone. One woman said to another, "These days aren't good anymore. Sister-in-law and brother-in-law staying together, God forbid, may God protect them." And similarly, one day Bushra's friend Rubina came to her house and said, "Tell me the truth. Fahim is interested in you, isn't he? People are saying that ever since Ahmed left, the two of you have become very close." Bushra's face turned pale and she trembled. "God's refuge, Rubina, what are you saying? He is my husband's brother. I have always loved him like a son." "Then why is all this happening?" "People can think anything. Be careful." That night, Bushra spent in prostration. "Oh, Lord, keep my heart steadfast, protect my honor, and keep my husband's trust safe." On the other side, Fahim also heard that people in the neighborhood were talking. He felt even more ashamed. He called Ahmed. "Brother, as soon as your work ends, please come back quickly. Your presence is necessary before things get worse." 2 days later, Ahmed returned to Karachi. Fahim and Bushra both breathed a sigh of relief that the true guardian of the house had returned. Ahmed, as usual, met both of them with love. But soon after, Fahim requested to speak with Ahmed alone. They were sitting on the roof when Fahim softly said, "Brother, I want to tell you something that might surprise you." Ahmed smiled and said, "Why so serious?" "Tell me." Fahim's voice choked. "Brother, Satan misled me for a moment. I let a sinful thought enter my heart about Babi, but I swear by Allah, I immediately repented and turned away from the sin." Then he told the whole incident to his brother, how he heard the Quran, fell into prostration, went to the Maulvi Sahib. "Even today I am ashamed. I just ask for your prayers." Silence spread over Ahmed's face. For a few moments he stared blankly at the sky. Then he slowly said, "I am more at peace after hearing your truth. Repenting before the sin was committed is a very big thing." Tears welled up in Fahim's eyes. Ahmed embraced him. But the story took a new turn at that moment, when, the very next day, Ahmed received an unknown envelope. Inside it was a letter and 2 photographs. The angle of the photos made it seem as if Bushra and Fahim were standing close together in the kitchen, whereas the reality was that Bushra was simply handing him water, and Fahim had extended his hand to take the glass. The letter said, "See what's happening in your house in your absence. Pictures don't lie. Open your eyes, Ahmed." Ahmed's hands began to tremble. He looked at the pictures several times. His heart began to race. "Is this from the day I was in Lahore?" The shadow of doubt began to spread in his heart, but immediately he recalled Fahim's confession and his honesty. If Fahim had something to hide, he wouldn't have confessed. He also remembered Bushra's character, simple, veiled, honest, but the war between heart and mind was ongoing. That same night, Ahmed quietly entered the room and asked Bushra, "When I was in Lahore, did Fahim ever alone with you?" Bushra looked at him in shock. "What do you mean, never? He doesn't even meet my gaze. He always immediately lowers his eyes." "What happened, Ahmed?" Ahmed handed her the letter and the photographs. Tears welled up in Bushra's eyes, and she said instinctively, "What is this? Lies and slander. Someone wants to defame us." Bushra couldn't stop crying. "Ahmed, I swear to you, I have no inappropriate relationship with your brother. Not in thought, not in action. This is all too much." Seeing her tears, Ahmed's heart grew even heavier. "I trust both of you. But this letter, these photos, who sent them and why?" At that moment the doorbell rang. Fahim entered and saw the seriousness on Ahmed and Bushra's faces. "Is everything all right?" he asked. Ahmed showed him the letter. Fahim looked at the photos, then lowered his head. "Someone has captured a moment and manipulated the angle to change the meaning. I think I know who did this." "Who?" Ahmed and Bushra asked simultaneously. Fahim replied, "Nabil, our former neighbor. He used to like Babi, But after she got married, he started talking about revenge. I've seen him watching her from street corners many times. Lines of anger appeared on Ahmed's forehead. The next day, the three of them devised a plan. Ahmed invited Nabil to a business dinner at a hotel. He spoke to him gently, but there was a storm inside him. Nabil, did you ever think how false accusations could destroy someone's life? Nabil avoided eye contact. I don't know what you're talking about. Just then, Fahim placed the same photographs on the table. We know everything, the angle, the moment, the day. We've collected footage from security cameras in nearby houses. You appear in them. Nabil's face began to sweat. I just wanted revenge. Because Bushra broke my heart. I wanted Ahmed's heart to break too. Ahmed's eyes turned red with rage, but Fahim put a hand on his shoulder. No, brother, don't raise your hand. We can't answer sin with sin. Nabil asked for forgiveness and promised to confess publicly. 2 days later, after the Friday prayer in the neighborhood mosque, Nabil stood before the imam and confessed everything. The photos, the jealousy, the lies. The people of the neighborhood were left ashamed. While tears of relief filled Bushra's eyes, Fahim spoke to his parents about arranging his marriage. He now wanted to marry a modest, veiled girl, someone who could help keep his heart, gaze, and desires protected for life. Ahmed held Bushra's hand and said, I will always trust you and your character. I'm truly lucky to have a virtuous wife like you. Blushing, Bushra quickly replied, No, I'm the lucky one to have a husband with such noble character. Dear friends, how did you find today's story? Let us know in the comments. And for more moral and meaningful stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.